Hi, are you a homeowner who's considering selling their house? Well, I'm sure that one of your main questions is what are the costs involved if I sell my property? Hi, Steve Jamrock, Realty Executives Premier. And while every house is unique and every homeowner situation is different, it's difficult to actually pinpoint and talk about exact dollar amounts when you're selling your property until we know about your property, about your goals, and about your situation. So, in this video, I'm not going to get into exact dollar amount and figures because, again, every property and situation is unique to itself. But what I'm going to do is kind of paint with a broad brush here and give you an idea of the costs associated with selling a property. So, when I talk to my home sellers, I typically like to tell them, hey, you can expect I break it down into three different groups. Group A are the costs associated with actually selling your house. Group B are the costs associated with actually closing your house. And Group C, I like to call optional costs because those are costs that are negotiated and agreed upon in the purchase agreement. So before we get into details on those three groups, just a quick reminder, if you'd like to stay on top of what's going on in the Northwest Indiana real estate market and our communities, please make sure you give me a like and a follow down below. Hit that subscribe button, whatever platform you're on. And of course, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below and I'll respond to those as quickly as possible. Always like to keep these videos interactive. So, all right, let's break down the three groups in detail of the costs associated with selling your property. So Group A is going to be the cost, again, with actually selling your house. This will include your commission, your property taxes, homeowners association fees and dues. Those are three of the main ones that are involved here. So important to remember, the commission, that's usually one of the biggie that everybody jumps right to. Just remember, commissions are negotiable. Typically, they can be a percentage of the purchase price. They could be a fixed amount. They could be a variable amount, broken down depending upon the cost of the property. So, but the main thing is, remember, commissions are negotiable. Property taxes, that's another big one. In Indiana, we pay taxes in arrears. So you will be responsible for all the time that you lived in the property and the days up into and through the day of closing. Same thing with homeowners association fees and dues. You'll be responsible for any dues that were your responsibility while you own the property, and of course any prorated dues through the day of closing. One thing to keep in mind too, and make sure that you check with your association if you do have a homeowners association before you list your property. Check up front make sure that your fees are caught up. That's always important. Sometimes if it's a smaller association, sometimes those fees kind of get forgotten about. But some associations also charge a move in and move out fee. Could be a couple $100. I've seen them, as high as $600 before. So that's a big fee. You don't want to get that missed and not disclose that up front until you get to the closing table, and all of a sudden the buyer's like, what is this extra $300 I have to pay for a move-in fee? So double and triple check with your homeowners association contact and just make sure you have all the fees and dues up front and disclose those to any potential buyers out there. So those are three of the main costs associated with actually selling the house. Now the costs involved with actually closing on the property. These would be typically paid to the escrow agent. That's kind of the broad term we use for either a title company or an attorney who would actually be witnessing and facilitating the closing. These costs would include the title search and the production of the title policy. That they search the public records, make sure there's no liens, judgments, any defects in that chain of title. Also, the title insurance policy. There will be a closing protection letter to the lender and the buyer for the time it takes before they record the deed to the property and record that title to the property. There's a deed preparation fee in there as well. So those are some of the fees. Oh, and also the closing fee to the actual escrow agent who's conducting the closing. So there's a fee there as well. So those are the fees typically associated with actually closing on the property. Now the Group C, again, those are optional fees. Those are typically negotiated in the contract and the purchase agreement up front. Those could include closing costs you are agreeing to pay for the buyer, rate lock buydowns, repair credits, surveys, things along those lines there. But again, those are negotiated up front. A lot of times sellers, hey, we don't have to pay anything. We didn't negotiate anything in the contract. Other times sellers like to, hey, we'll give a repair credit for something that's done there instead of doing the repairs, or offer closing cost assistance to buyers. So those are some of the main costs that are involved when selling your property. And again, unless we know your situation and the property itself, it's difficult to get into actual dollar amounts, but that will give you kind of a broad idea of the cost that you can expect. If you want to get into a little bit more detail and you want to get the ball rolling on knowing what the costs are going to be to sell your particular property, please reach out. Message me, give me a call, 219-306-0333. I'll be glad to discuss your property and your situation that's in detail to you, to make sure you get an accurate and up-to-date figure there. So again, any questions about selling your property and the cost involved, don't ever hesitate to reach out. If I could be of any service at all, I'm always available for you guys. Thanks again for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.